Hello everybody, welcome to the Northern Film Review. This week we are reviewing the Leeds International Film Festival. Wonderful little vibe going on. It's going to be fantastic, absolutely fun stuff. I'm currently working there at the moment, so I've got the inside knowledge of it all. And we'll be getting Luke's perspective as a pundit, a mop, a person of the public. And yeah, hope you enjoy. The Northern Film Review, with your hosts, Oliver Ellis and Luke Simpson. Hello, Luke. How are you?
I'm alright, thank you, yeah.
You excited?
I am. There are a couple of films in the film festival that I would love to see.
Yeah, I think it seems quite exciting. I mean, let's get the pleasantries out of the way. Last week, we had a wonderful guest on, Cameron, who talked to us about Straw Dogs, which was fantastic. Loved that. And that was a wonderful little podcast arena. And this week, like I said in the intro, we're going to be talking about the Leeds International Film Festival.
Indeed we are.
Which I'm currently working at as a volunteer at the moment, which is sort of part of my work experience and sort of, it's just generally quite a lot of fun. I'm going to it tonight, actually.
What is it that you're doing for volunteering purposes? So what's it like being a volunteer?
So basically, the general vibe of my job is that I sort of stand around and I usher people into the cinema and go, check your tickets, please. And then I go, yes, you're in the right place, going in. And then I occasionally stand downstairs and tell people where to go. And then I go watch a full-length movie. So I basically get 2 free tickets to two random films about 5 times throughout 3 weeks. And then I sort of just, have a bit of fun, really. And it's quite a lot of fun. It's quite exciting. But yeah, I'm going to talk about it a little bit more. But I sort of, as you're not working on it. You haven't been so far.
I haven't. No.
You've kind of seen it when you've been to the view, and I'm like, oh, there's Luke there.
I kind of bumped past when I was off to watch a film.
Yeah, you're watching Eternals.
Yeah.
Boo.
Well, I have to watch because of my Marvel geek inside me.
Yeah. So you haven't heard much about it.
No.
What is your sort of opinion on it? What do you know about it? What
I know about it is there's a few films that I would love to see in there.
Okay.
I know it kind of broadens people's perspective on foreign films.
Yeah.
And so a couple of films in there that I like the look of. I think you've seen one of them, which is Lamb, which is A24, which I absolutely love. That's one of my favourite companies. Is it company? Yeah, production companies. Yeah, absolutely love them. So Lamb looks something like my cup of tea. And I've seen a couple of. There's a Korean remake of The Cube in there, which I just stumbled across it whilst researching it, and I was like, interesting. If you don't know The Cube, it's like it's a
sequel to The Triangle. That doesn't make any sense.
No.
A better joke would have been The Square.
Anyway, it's 1997, I think the film came out in, the original one, and for once the Koreans are making a remake of it instead of the Americans making a remake of a foreign film. So that might be interesting to have a look, see if they do it better than the original one.
It might also be terrible, but
Yeah. Like we said last podcast, most remakes are horrific.
Yeah, I mean, I think Dune's going down pretty well, but that's...
Yeah, but that was because the first one was horrific in its own.
I think if you make art that's comparative to the original, it's perhaps not a good thing to do, I feel. But yeah, so like I said, I'm working at the film festival at the moment. It's kind of like, so the film festival is based in sort of a couple of places, and it's kind of, so I'm currently working at the View at the Lights in Leeds City Centre, which is quite nice, and they're also doing sort of the Howard Assembly Room. They're doing the Everyman Cinema, which is sort of the one with the nice settees.
That's the one in the Trinity Centre.
I'm not sure. I've never actually been. Maybe I'll go. Well, I do have to go next week actually, or on Saturday. And they're also doing it in Bradford as well.
So they're doing it in Belgrave somewhere.
Yeah, they're also doing something in Belgrave. So the Belgrave Music Hall, and the National Science and Media Museum in Bradford. And it's kind of sort of all around. It's quite interesting. It's sort of I think before going on to it, I've been to sort of one other, and we've talked about sort of film festivals before on the podcast, about film festivals and all that. And I've been to one before called the Flatpack Festival in Birmingham, and it's what I always expect film festivals to be like is kind of like an actual sort of music festival, where there's sort of like lots of sort of intertwining sort of places and you can walk through thing to thing. And I think often with the smaller ones, it tends to be less of that.
Yeah.
But I think with sort of Cannes and sort of Sundance and Raindance and stuff like that, they tend to be...
But they tend to be invite only though, don't they?
They tend to be invite only, but they tend to hire out like a whole town.
Yeah.
So Sundance is basically just like one town.
I would love to go there one day. It looks so amazing. I like you, I've been to one film festival before. I've been to Aesthetica in York, which is a short film festival. We were part of college, and that was really good because it was a bit like the Leeds Film Festival. It's dotted around places in York. Yeah. So there's one of them's at a cinema. One of them's it was really cool, which is inside a pub. And in the pub, and it had like an old-fashioned cinema screen in it. It was awesome.
Yeah. I like film festivals. I think they're quite a lot of fun, and it really gives you the chance to sort of see a lot of odd and a lot of interesting films that you might not have necessarily seen. So sort of because I'm working at the festival, I get like a point card, so I get to see 5 free films outside of my volunteer hours. So they can be sort of anything, and so I have to go and go, here's my point card, show me a film. And I haven't used that as of yet because I'm seeing all the films that I want to see kind of on my shift. But so far I've seen Evolution, which was a sort of like drama about sort of like post-war sort of like Jewish family through sort of generations, kind of done in a weird sort of short film type thing, Birdman-esque. And then I watched Card Counter, which is currently out in cinemas, so I saw a pre-release of that. It was terrible. It was genuinely just one of the worst films I've ever seen.
Have you seen 21?
No.
About car counting, which it's pretty good. I don't know if it was going to be like that or not.
It was just really, really slow, and it basically had no story. And
it's Oscar Isaac, though. I love a bit of Oscar Isaac.
The acting was very nice, but the sort of the dialogue was just abysmal, and there were some really sort of like obvious stereotypes, and there's like whole scenes which was like just you could have just cut out the film. And there was like also this really weird ADR scene that they did. If you don't know what ADR is, audio dialogue replacement. So if you don't record the dialogue on set, you've got to do it in post. And it's usually quite obvious that you've done that.
Because you don't even look at it. Normally ADR, you're not even focusing on the actual actor. You're focusing on something else. It's like B-roll, and then they're talking behind that.
It was so poorly done. And there's so much about the film which is awful. Wouldn't recommend at all. But
there is a film that you would recommend, though, wouldn't it?
Yes. So on my second shift, I so one of the volunteers has to sort of go down and be the person to be with the staff at the front, and I was that for the first thing because I knew I wanted to watch this film after, and I wanted to get like because you'll often have to sort of there'll be one volunteer who stays outside for 15 minutes trying to get the stragglers in, and there'll be one that goes inside, and then I had the ability to just go straight inside. And I watched a film called Lamb, which is an A24 film, which you don't know. A24, you were saying before.
Love them. They're great.
They're sort of this very creative production studio who makes sort of amazing films like Lady Bird,
Lighthouse,
Uncut Gems, Midsummer, sort of very sort of
The Witch.
What?
The Witch.
The Witch.
The Witch.
And they make sort of these very nice, interesting films that sort of maybe go against the curve of sort of popular Hollywood. And it was Lamb, and it's possibly one of the freakiest films I've ever seen. And it was, I mean, I don't want to spoil it for you. I might write a review for it. And it's just sort of like, it's so hard to describe. When I watched it, I was like, I don't know what genre this is.
I mean, I think the trailer. I've seen the trailer, and it's set as this, like normal drama at the beginning until you see this lamb.
It felt like
and
a
then
satire.
It's like got a horror aspect in it.
It felt like a satire at parts, and then other parts it was like.
Has it got comedy aspects within it? If you said it's like satire.
it's kind of like have you ever seen Sightseers? When they're in a camper van and they go around.
It's actually set in Yorkshire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the people are from Birmingham.
Yeah.
And it's so it like there's not stuff in it that's strictly jokes, but you're sort of laughing at it.
Like a dark comedy.
Sort of. And again, this is why I find it so hard to sort of categorize. It was so odd. Maybe if you were to watch it, you'd instantly sort of get it. But it's so sort of weird and subjective. And it's A24 obviously. And I remember my brother sent me the trailer, and it really freaked me out. I was like, "What's this?"
I sent it to my mate when I first saw it, like a few months ago. I was like, "What the hell have I just watched?"
Yeah, it was a very interesting film, and I'd definitely recommend it if you're going to go to the International Film Festival. All their stuff is on their website. They also have a player as well, which you can use to sort of get the films that you might have missed or whatnot. And it's just incredibly sort of interesting sort of films going on. And I think the next sort of films I kind of want to watch. I mean, there's two main ones. We talk about this film a lot. Titani, something, which I also want to watch, and that's going to be on my shift on Saturday, I think. If you want,
we talk about it a lot, and we don't even know its name.
Yeah, we don't know how to pronounce it. And literally everyone I talk to pronounces it slightly differently, and I'm not really sure what to make of that. And there's also Spencer, so that's the Princess Diana film, which I actually think is out in normal cinemas now.
Yeah,
but you could have seen that on pre-release at the Leeds International Film Festival. And stuff like that. There's also lots of sort of documentaries. So yesterday, Luke wasn't there, but we had one of our previous he's alumni now. He came in and gave us a talk about how his documentary about the refugee crisis in Calais is being played at the Leeds International Film Festival, which looks interesting, and stuff like that. And there's also lots of anime and sort of animated films and stuff like that, this seems very interesting and very exciting. Maybe I'll get my card punched to go see some of them.
So how long is the festival altogether? Like how many days?
Think
is it a couple of weeks?
It's sort of around 3 weeks-ish.
Is it the first week this week?
No, it's last week.
Ah.
So I had my first shift on Thursday. I think it started on Wednesday. I think it's going to end, I suppose, 2 weeks. Maybe. I'm not really sure. I'm very bad with time. I'd say around 2 weeks. But they're sort of like, they've got I think 4 films on every day in each screening, and there's like 4 screens, and they're all and they'll replay films throughout the weeks if they're quite popular, and stuff like that. So you can see all these sort of amazing films if you missed it on the first screening, and that sort of thing. And the tickets are around sort of like £7. So I mean, not like sort of, £9 to £7.50, depending on the film. And it's a relatively good deal. Like Lamb, I wouldn't imagine that's going to really go into the big cinemas. I think it's going to hit the film festival circuit first, and then it might go on somewhere like Mubi or maybe Netflix, but
depends if it picks it up. Depends if it goes to like Sundance or whatever.
Yeah. If there's sort of the big streaming people or the big sort of cinema people pick it up.
Because at the bigger film festivals, there's like I think it's called like a marketplace where literally you get Netflix, you get Mubi.
That's what they are,
and they go there and they bid on. They bid for the rights, basically.
That's where you want to get into film festivals as a filmmaker. It's so you can put it on your sort of like poster and be like, I was in so and so film festival.
Yeah.
And also, the people who go to these film festivals, and they are for the film goers and other directors and writers and sound people, but it does tend to be production executives, people from Netflix, people who are high up at View, people who will choose these films and then will give you money so they can show these films. And I think that's such an important reason to get into some of these festivals like this.
It is very expensive to go into film festivals as well, and we've been told that multiple times in uni. it will cost you a lot to. You can go to companies and they'll push it out for you, but it's like a set price, and it's like 500 to like £1,000, and like for student short films, and that's a lot of money for a student. I don't know how much it would be for a normal film.
Well, I think typically, well, not typically, but like often people will. They'll crowdfund once for the production of the film to make it, and then they'll crowdfund a second time so they can enter film festivals and get the money to enter film festivals.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, however you feel about it. I'm not particularly a big fan of that system.
What, crowdfunding?
Well, crowdfunding, as I have sort of ethical quandaries with it, and sort of the fact that filmmakers have to do this in order to get a film made, and it's very much based on how much money you have rather than skill and talent. I mean, that's, you know, there's a whole argument about meritocracy there, but it's it is quite unfortunate at times that it is sort of the way it is. But like, if you're a big, like you were saying, the bigger films, you know, they will, to make a bigger film, you'll often have to have backers behind it,
multiple as well. Yeah.
Like the sort of the guest lecture we had yesterday,
Screen Yorkshire.
The documentary guy, he was like, I was making this thing, a documentary about Calais. I was really looking for money for it, and then I just was sent an email by these philanthropists, and they gave me 12 grand to help make the film. And you know, it just trying to get that money, and then you got to spend. I literally have no idea how much it is getting to these international films.
So in our morning lecture as well, we had multiple Monday morning lectures. We have a guy from Screen Yorkshire come in.
Yeah. And
what Screen Yorkshire does is they'll back it. They'll give you, I think it's like 10% of it.
Yeah.
10% of your budget. 10 or 20%. But their stipulation is, you have to film in Yorkshire though.
Yeah.
So.
I mean that's sort of its own thing, really. It's I can't remember who I was talking to, but like you can make, you know, Bradford look like Tokyo.
We were talking about that last night.
Yeah. We won't. And it's, I mean, that's its own thing, really. And I think that's perhaps coming. I think maybe Leeds International Film Festival do sort of subsidies for Yorkshire-based filmmaking, which is quite interesting. I still think it's sort of you know, it's a drop in the bucket, really. There's sort of it's still very, very expensive. But still doesn't detract from the fact that going to these film festivals as a mop, which is a member of the public, or a pundit, it's very, very fun.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed literally every second of it. I love it so much because I basically spend most of the time sort of talking to people about films, having these really good conversations, going to watch films, doing all sorts of stuff with it. And I'd highly recommend, if anyone's interested in film, or just like having a good time, really, just volunteering at one of these sort of like film festivals. I mean, I met this woman, and she was sort of she went to university to study law, and then she became a lawyer and worked in a bunch of law firms, and then now she works at HMRC. And she was just like, I've done this before and I really love it, and it's just sort of a really fun thing to do in my spare time. And I'm like, it is. It's really a lot of fun. And it's not just sort of like, I think a lot of I work at a lot of events and stuff. It tends to be sort of like, you know, students who need a bit of extra money.
Yeah.
Or
you work during summer. You work festivals, don't you?
Yeah, I work at sort of music festivals and stuff like that. And it tends to be sort of students who are looking for extra money or work experience. But like, I think with film festivals, I just recommend it to anyone. I think it's such a good thing to, like, literally, you just get to see 2 full films, get a free shirt.
Bing bang bosh.
Bing bang bosh. Exactly. And you get some really good stuff about it, and I just recommend. I mean, are you going to go see a film?
I'm planning to go see Lamb.
Oh yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah, I've like I said, I really love A24, so it's something I try to. I try and watch as many of them films as I can, just because they're very just weird films, which I like. Yeah,
and I think Lamb's such a weird. I mean, it's not the best film in the world, but it's very interesting.
Like you don't see many Icelandic films out there though, which
I found that
go
interesting.
to the mainstream. You see more I don't know, Swedish films or films set not in Iceland. It's Scandinavia still, but not in Iceland.
Yeah, I tend to find that like you find like Icelandic dramas that are sort of like on the BBC and stuff like that.
You see like more
programs. Something that my mum would watch.
You see more Scandinavian dramas like made from books. So like a lot of dramas that are on BBC are from this Danish author.
Yeah.
So Scandinavians are good at doing drama, doing crime thrillers.
Yeah.
But it's like Girl and Dragon Tattoo. That was a Danish film or Swedish film, one of the two.
Yeah.
Scandinavian, and that's one of the most popular.
Yeah. It's interesting.
It's just odd that we don't really see many from Iceland.
Well, that's also another great thing about film festivals. Is often you'll get foreign film releases that will probably never ever be in sort of big cinema, and then you'll be able to see it at film festivals, and will only be released on sort of like streaming services. I mean, I think they'll get cinema releases in their country of origin, so like Titani. It had a couple of screenings in France and sort of that sort of stuff, but it'll just probably never. I mean, I don't know. It depends how the audience reception is.
It's like going back to Raw. That wasn't really shown in UK, and it went straight to streaming after the festival.
Yeah, and I think that's sort of it's such a great chance to sort of see this film in the cinema and sort of see general audience reactions to it. Like, there's so much sort of like visceral audience reaction to like Lamb, and people just like laughing at certain parts and like being really sort of like pulled back and a bit cringy at other parts, and it was just sort of nice to see the audience reaction to sort of a film that sort of had subtitles to it, and it was in Icelandic, and it was interesting to see that. I'm glad I did. I think would recommend.
That's what I'm hoping. I'm trying to look for if it's on in a view again. So might.
Yeah, and I think it's definitely makes me like the idea of film festivals as a sort of like a thing to go to. I mean, I still have, like I said, ethical quandaries with how it's set up for the creators, but I think in general, good.
Yeah, it's me gusta.
Indeed.
Yeah.
It is definitely a vibe. I'd recommend. And Titani and all this sort of stuff. I think, and also as well, it's often with filmy people, it's a lot of sort of moving around. If you work in the industry, you'll sort of work around, and you'll never really have lots of like a home base where you can sort of like sit down a little bit. Whereas sort of, with these film festivals, they're always in the same sort of place, and it's always very grounded, and it's always just one thing, and I like that because it's very sort of secure and there and happy and good, which is also always something that I'm always missing from the industry, because there's never, like, unless you're like an editor for an editing house, you're probably not going to be. Which I'm planning to go. There's a lecture on Thursday, which I might go to then. Yeah. Which is sort of that vibe, and I do like it. It's very much a place where film people can congregate and talk about films and sort of all that sort of stuff. In one of the lectures we had a couple of weeks ago, we had the guy who runs the Sheffield Doc Fest come in, and he said he never thought he would get into, because he runs part of it now. That's his job. Like, he gets paid to sort out festivals. Because he kind of knew that the film industry is very hard to get into. Very, very, very hard to get into. Yeah. Is that something you would be interested in doing, running, helping with, like, being full-time working at a festival? I would like that. Like, sourcing films out. Because he goes to other festivals and goes, oh, I like that film, I'll write that down, try and get that to come to this festival. Yeah, I would like that a lot. I think that sounds like a fun thing. I remember I worked at the Birmingham Guitar Show, and the sort of the guy, I was talking to the guy who ran it and organised it. It's very much sort of you have lots of creative control. Yeah. And it's I find that quite interesting, and I sort of he'll go to like NAMM, and he'll go to like shows in Germany and stuff like that. And I like that sort of like sort of thing. It does seem interesting, but like I said, I have sort of ethical quandaries with it. Maybe that'll be something I debate in the future. I mean, I do look what. Thanks, paper. I do work at a lot of sort of events, and
I mean, it could be something that you could, if you end up working in the industry, it could be something that you could, I don't know, debate, like you said, debate about. I mean, if once you get in the industry, we are. I mean, it sounds a bit braggy, but we are the future of filmmaking. People who are at university now.
Yeah, we're the future.
Not the, you know what I mean, though. It's like
I know.
It's still run by people who live in the 50s and 60s, and that kind of will give you the money, or not else, or you give us money to do this, and that's it. I mean, the times are changing, so it's kind of the fact that the modern day filmmakers, modern day filmmaking needs to change.
Yeah, definitely. I think maybe it's something I'll consider. Maybe I keep trying to find because all the people who work there are basically just sort of like volunteer people who got a job off the council, which is sort of I wish I had found this, and I probably could have got the job, but it's what it is. I'm trying to find my way in. I'm trying to find the vibe. Would you like to work at a festival?
Yeah.
I
mean, I remember him, the DocFest guy talking about doing social media for it, because it's something that I'm more interested in doing, is the post-production aspect of filmmaking. And within that is a lot of social media that needs to be edited, and that's like editing trailers for each film, editing a promotional video. A lot of it's funny, we were talking about this in one of our seminars, and it's within the film school we don't get told to make dramas, and that's pretty much it. You don't really get taught how to make advertising videos or music videos.
We do it a little bit. I think I do understand what you mean.
Tad bit, but it's not like. I mean, it's a film school. Don't get me wrong.
Well, I think the experimental film module kind of delves into it, but it's sort of like
advertising and.
Well, it's kind of like the weird sort of wacky world that is advertising music videos, but like you were saying, it's. Yeah, I don't know. It does seem like something. I think editing in sort of social media for film festivals would be very fun.
Yeah,
I think that seems.
Editing in general is fun. It's laborious, but I love it.
Laborious, yeah.
It is. It is honestly. It can get in your nerves sometimes. Looking at a screen, doing little tweaks taking about an hour to do 20 seconds of footage, but I love it.
It's nice to sit.
It's nice to sit down, look at a screen, and just go, right, this is the work I'm working with.
What I've always found with sort of sound editing is I like to sit down and you're the only person working.
Cup
on
of tea and a biscuit, and just doing it.
Sometimes I'm I really hate collaboration here.
Oh god, I'm exactly the same as you. People, especially in film school.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There are loads of lovely people, but there are some people that have egos that can just.
Oh god, yeah.
Just grind it down. It's
I mean, I might fit in that category sometimes, but
but there are some proper egos at any film school in general.
I think it's just sort of the Artur complex.
Yeah.
I'm the important person here. I think it's perhaps the fact that the director position is far more hyped up than it should be.
Yeah.
Hot take.
I mean, the majority of the time directors are in meetings rather than actually doing directing. It's like the first AD and second AD that normally do all the action and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's like the director's going, can you move a little? Like in TV, the director's not really.
Yeah, they're always in meetings 70% of the time. 30% of the time they're actually on set.
Yeah, that is the hot take we're gonna end this show on. But yeah, so hopefully you're gonna go to the Leeds International Film Festival. I will be there if you want to see me. If you don't know what I look like,
it might be done by the time this gets uploaded.
Oh god, yeah. Keep forgetting because we're recording on the Tuesday, which is the day that our show goes out. But we're doing it in a week in advance, which is good.
We're on it like a car bonnet, as I say.
We're very on it, and I like the fact that we're very organised. But it's confusing my head a little bit. So maybe when this comes out, you'll have no idea.
Or maybe there's more film festivals out there that you can. If listening to this and you find it interesting, there may be a new film festival out there that you can go and watch.
Blackback Film Festival, Bradford
There's
Film
the
Festival.
Assessica that comes out in a few weeks' time from when we talk about this. So
loads of stuff.
Honestly, get to any film festival. Assessica's a short film festival, but it's how if you into filmmaking, I would suggest go there because it's what you'll do at film school. You make short films, and from doing short films, you may get the chance to make your short film into a feature-length film.
Yeah, definitely. And that's a nicer thing to end on than my hot talk about directors.
Yeah.
So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed the show. We'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.